Hi everyone, my name is Shauna in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. Before anyone makes a comment about this, my face is the way that it is because I have this little bundle of joy called a cat. And when Cat sees another cat that she does not like, this ensues. Anyways, today I want to talk about my OCD. I filmed this video so many times and I delete it every time because I get too anxious to post it. I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, I think it would do more good than bad to post it because I hope that other people can understand what OCD is better by watching this, and I hope that maybe someone out there can relate to me and understand my struggles a little bit. And trust me, if you have OCD, I understand your struggles. So OCD, to start off with, is obsessive compulsive disorder. It presents itself differently in people. When we traditionally think of OCD, we think about perfectionism, which there are a couple OCD compulsions that I have that have to do with perfectionism, but that isn't all that there is to OCD, and that's a stereotype about it, although perfectionism does apply to some people's OCD. Perfectionism, though, what I mean by that isn't so much like this painting is crooked, I have to fix it, and I have the urge to fix it. It's more like this painting is crooked and I'm worried that if I don't put that painting back in the right position, like a spider's gonna pop out from behind it or something like that. So it's a compulsion that you do to cope with this obsession or fear that you have. Now these don't necessarily connect in a way that makes sense to just the general population. Like, I tap the toilet seat twice after I leave the toilet, like I close it and tap it twice, and most people would be like, that's really strange. And then if I tell you why, my obsession and fear that caused me to do that, which is that I have a fear that a spider's gonna crawl out of the toilet, most people are probably gonna be like, that is really weird and not normal at all. But it really strongly connects in my brain, and I firmly believe that if I don't tap the toilet seat twice, a spider's gonna pop out. But like, talking about it now to the camera, I know that that won't happen realistically, but once I see the toilet, I have to do it, or else I'll obsess over it and worry that a spider's gonna pop out of the toilet. So as you can see, it doesn't necessarily make sense just in general why these obsession and compulsions like happen and why you think that something bad will happen if you don't do something in particular, but it is what it is. I'm not sure if there's a genetic component to it, but I do know that there are other members of my family who have OCD. So let's go into how I got diagnosed with OCD, because I think that my story of how I got diagnosed is a little interesting. So there was this kid in the 8th grade who would really get on my nerves a little bit. Like, we were friends, but we also like somewhat fought and made fun of each other and stuff. And most of the time his comments, I could be like, I'll just ignore them. He's just messing with me. He's just being weird. But he made this comment when I was in school, and he said, I think you have OCD. Now what I was doing at the time was that I had my planner out in front of me and I was writing down my homework for each class. I would write the name of the class, and then I would write the assignments that I had to do, and then I would take a pen and I would make a box around it. And I rotated between the colors, and there's a specific pattern that I had to use it. I don't remember that pattern now. I don't use planners now, so I can't tell you exactly the specifics of it, but I had a very strict regimen that I was doing with my planner. And this classmate of mine, this friend of mine, was like, I think you have OCD. And for some reason that really hit me as like, I wonder if he's right. And I don't even know if he meant for me to go to the doctor and ask about it. He could have just been doing it to like mess with me more and to like make fun of me or whatever. But something about his comment really stuck with me, and I had therapy that afternoon. And so I went in to my therapist and I said, this classmate of mine told me that I have OCD, and now I'm starting to wonder if I have OCD. My therapist asked me some prompting questions and basically got me to confess all of my compulsions and obsessions, and from there she concluded that I have OCD. So I feel like it isn't necessarily the normal way to get diagnosed. Like, a classmate just said, I think you have OCD, and I took it personally and went to go get help. I don't know if that's the normal way that people find out they have OCD, but that's sort of what happened to me. My two major obsessions that I do compulsions for is the fear of something bad happening to me or my family, and for that I do things like follow a strict night routine that I do right before I go to bed, and I use a specific phone charger that I cannot change to use a different one. And then my other main obsession has to do with school. I'm worried that my grades will drop if I don't do certain things. For example, if my notes don't look an exact way, I'm worried that my grades will drop. And if I don't stack my papers in the right order, I'm worried my grades will drop. And if I don't use the same pencil for school, same worry comes into play. OCD is a bit frustrating in the sense that a lot of people don't understand you, they find you weird, they just want you to do things the normal way or just switch up your routine, but you really can't do that. It takes a lot of therapy to get to the point where you can change it. Some anti-anxiety and antidepressants do help a little bit with OCD compulsions, but I've found that my anxiety and depression are so bad that it's worth it to have worse OCD and to try and get my anxiety and depression under control. As I said, there's lots of different types of OCD, so I'm definitely like not covering everything. I have heard that some people, when their anxiety gets bad or they go through a rough patch, their OCD will get worse. I suffer from intrusive thoughts. I didn't find out that I had intrusive thoughts until someone posted about it online within the past like month or two. Intrusive thoughts are a little bit like obsessions, like it'll shoot into your brain if you don't do this, something bad will happen, but intrusive thoughts, at least the way that I interpret it, is more like, well, I get told to do something violent. Like my brain tells me to do something violent. I always resist the urge. I don't act on these intrusive thoughts, but they are a part of OCD. Treatment-wise, besides the medications that aren't necessarily guaranteed to help, is sort of like, I think it's called exposure response, I'm not sure. What you do is you make this like chart and you track your compulsions and the fears with it, and then you try and just like change your fears that have to do with it. Make it so your brain understands that not doing that thing in the right way won't cause this bad thing to happen and won't cause this fear to happen. And then you have to change up your OCD compulsions. It's really, really rough. I have been avoiding doing OCD therapy for years. I tried to do it in the past, but it was like really intense. So yeah, if you have any questions about OCD, feel free to ask me down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer any questions that any of you have. If you want to do more research into OCD, I encourage you to look at information that is either from scientific sources or to read books that Own Voices reviewers have reviewed high ratings for. Own Voices reviewers for OCD would be someone who has OCD like myself, who reads a book, and not only do they rate the book on whether it was good or bad in terms of how much they liked it, but they rate it on whether it was good or bad in terms of representation, and they can be the ones to clarify that because they have the condition mentioned in the book. So yeah. If you found this video helpful, feel free to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to me if you haven't already. Feel free to hit that notification bell to get notified whenever I make a new video. I make videos Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. I feel like I'm forgetting something about OCD right now, but I can't think of anything to add to this video, so I am just gonna head out now. I hope all of you have a fantastic weekend. Goodbye.